This is question number 6 from section 5.3, and for this problem I need to find the equation of a line which is parallel to this line, and it also has the same intercept as 5x minus 3y equals to 10. Great. Okay, so a lot of information going on in this particular problem. So if I want to find the equation of a line that's parallel to this line, then those two lines must have the same slope. So step number 1, we have to find the slope. Right, so we take our 3x plus 4y equals to 8, and I need to find the slope of this line because the line that we're looking for is parallel to this line. So those two lines will have the same slope. And if I take my 3x and move it to the other side, I get negative 3x, and then the plus the 8. And then I can divide both sides by 4. And if I do that, the 4's here will cancel off. And I get y equals to negative 3 over 4x, and then plus, and then 8 divided by 4 is just 2. All right, so if I'm looking for a line that's parallel to this particular line right here, then the slopes need to be the same. So the slope of the parallel line will be just negative 3 over 4. Okay, so let's box that. We'll definitely need that for later on. And the other piece of information that's given to us in this problem is that the line that we're looking for has the same y-intercept as this line. Okay, so now I have 5x minus 3y equals to 10. So it has the same y-intercept as this line. Okay, now when you're dealing with the y-intercept, by definition, the x value for any y-intercept is always 0. So this just goes to 0, and then you're left with just negative 3y equals to 10. And then you can divide both sides by negative 3. And then the negative 3's cancel off, and you get y equals to negative 10 over 3. So the y-intercept is going to be 0, comma, negative 10 over 3. Okay, so now the goal is I need to write the equation of a line that has the slope of negative 3 over 4 and has the y-intercept value of negative 10 over 3. All right, so there's different ways to do this particular problem. I'll kind of take the longer way to finish off this problem. So I will use the point slope form of a line. Right, and what we're going to do is we're going to fill in the value for the slope, the x1 value, and the y1 value. Okay, so if I do that here, my slope is going to be negative 3 over 4. And then where's my x1 value? Well, my x1 value is 0, and my y1 value is negative 10 over 3. So if I substitute those values in, I get y plus 10 over 3 on the left-hand side, and then I get x minus 0 on the right-hand side. So there we go. There is my equation of the line here, and what I need to do now is I need to just change this back into standard form here. So let's go ahead and distribute this onto the brackets here. If I do that, I get negative 3. Actually, I'll put this in red here. I get negative 3 over 4x, and then negative 3 over 4 times negative 0 is just going to be 0. And then I can take my positive 10 thirds, and I can bring that over. If I bring that over, that becomes negative 10 over 3. And then I have my y on the left-hand side there. Okay, so this is looking pretty good so far. Now I need to change this back into standard form. So take a look at your denominators there. I have I have a 4 and a 3 here. So the least common multiple between 4 and 3 is going to be 12. So let's multiply everything by 12. Okay. Now on the left-hand side, 12 times y is just 12y equals 2. Now this is the tricky part here. I have a 12 here. So do 12 divided by 4 first, right? So I have a 12 here. Divide that by 4. 12 divided by 4 is going to be 3. And then 3 times negative 3 is going to be negative 9. So I have a negative 9x there. And then, what's 12 divided by 3? Well, 12 divided by 3 is 4. And then what is 4 times negative 10? Well, 4 times negative 10 is negative 40. All right, so we do quite a bit of those exercises in class. You can just kind of make sure you get your calculations correct there. And then finally take your negative, not your negative 40, but take your negative 9x and bring that to the other side. If I do that, I get positive 9x, and then positive 12y equals to negative 40. And this right here is your final answer. 9x plus 12y equals to negative 40. Okay, let's move on to question number 8 now. So for question Okay, let's move on to question number 8 now. And question number 8 is similar to question number 6, except for this time we're given the x-intercept for this line, right? So our goal is I want to find the equation of a line, and that line must be parallel to this line and have the same x-intercept as 3x minus 4y equals to 5. Okay, so just like question number 6, I would go ahead and find the slope first, and it's parallel to this line. So I need to find the slope of this line right here, which is 2x plus 7y equals to 10. All right, so if I want to find the slope of this line, you need to isolate for the y term. So let's go ahead and move this 2x to the other side. And if I do that, I get negative 2x and then plus 10. And then I can divide both sides by 7. If I do that, the 7's cancel off. Then I get a y on the left-hand side, and then I get negative 2 over 7x plus 10 over 7. Okay, so there is the equation of my line, and therefore my slope is negative 2 over 7. So if it's parallel, the slope of the parallel line is going to be negative 2 over 7. And let's go ahead and box that because I will need that for I will need that for something else later in the problem. Okay, let's go back to the original problem now, and the equation of the line must have the same x-intercept as 3x minus 4y equals to 5. All right, now when you're dealing with an x-intercept, that means the y value goes to 0. All right, so 3x now equals to 5, and then you divide both sides by 3. If you do that, the 3's cancel off, giving you x equals to 5/3. Okay, so what is the x-intercept? The x-intercept is 5 over 3, and the y value is 0 because by definition, for a x-intercept, the y value is always 0. Okay, so now I have a point, which is 5/3 comma 0, and I have a slope. Now I need to find the equation of a line that has an x-intercept of 5 over 3 and a slope of negative 2 over 7. So in order to do that, I will go ahead and use the equation of a line, which I will use the point slope formula. And if I do that, this will be my x1, this will be my y1, and my slope is going to be just negative 2 over 7. So let's go ahead and plug that in. So negative 2 over 7 onto x minus 5 over 3. And I have a y minus 0 on the left-hand side. So in Calculus 12, we can actually just take this as a final answer, but for grade 10 math, we will go ahead and just distribute this now. And if I distribute that, I get negative 2 over 7x, and then I have a plus, and then just do the math here, right? So 2 times 5 is going to be 10, right? So 10 divided by, and 7 times 3 is going to be 21. So 10 over 21 there, and then I have a y over here. All right, so right now, this is written in slope-intercept form. What we should do now is we should write this expression in standard form. So taking a look at the bottoms here, I have a 7 and 21. The least common multiple between 7 and 21 is 21. So let's multiply everything by 21. Okay. If I do 21 times y, I get 21y equals. Now over here, you gotta be a little bit careful here. I have a 21 here. What's 21 divided by 7? Well, 21 divided by 7 is going to be 3. And then what is 3 times negative 2? Right, this is negative 2, right? So 3 times negative 2 is going to be negative 6. So negative 6x. And then the 21 here and the 21 there cancels off, giving you just positive 10. And finally, the last step you have to do here is you take your negative 6x and you bring it over. So that's going to become positive 6x plus 21y equals to 10, and that's your final answer there. Okay, let's move on to question number 9, I believe. I want to find the equation of a line, and this time it's going to be perpendicular to this line, but has the same y-intercept as this line. All right, so our goal is we still need to find an equation of a line that's perpendicular to one of those lines, but has the same y-intercept as the blue equation. Okay, great. So step number 1, I would find the slope. So I need to find the slope of this line because the equation that I want to find is perpendicular to this line. So let's go ahead and find out what the slope will be if it's perpendicular here. So the 2x goes to the other side, which is negative 2x. and then the plus 7 remains on the right hand side. Then you divide both sides by negative 3. After that, you want to simplify. So y would equal to, I get positive 2 over 3 x, and then I have a positive and a negative sign, so that's going to be negative 7 over 3. All right, so there's my equation of my line, and since it's perpendicular to that, the slope that I'm looking for is the negative reciprocal of this. So if the slope is 2/3, the negative reciprocal of that is going to be negative 3 over 2. All right, so I will definitely need this slope for later on in the problem. Okay, after that, let's go ahead and deal with the y-intercept situation here. It has the same y-intercept as this line right here. Okay, the same y-intercept. Okay, so if we're dealing with a y-intercept, we know that for every single y-intercept, the x value always goes to 0. So that means I have negative 2y equals to 10, and then you can divide both sides by negative 2. And then I know that the negative 2's just cancel off, giving you y equals 2. And 10 divided by negative 2 is going to be negative 5. All right, so my y-intercept is going to be 0, negative 5. All right, so now we're in a very similar situation as the previous problems in this homework video guide. I will now use the equation of a line in point-slope form. And I will go ahead and label this as x1 and y1. And I know that my slope is going to be negative 3 over 2. So negative 3 over 2, and then bracket x minus 0, and I have a y, and now it's going to be plus, right? Since I have a negative 5 there, I get a plus sign there, and that's going to be positive 5 now. All right, so this is looking pretty good so far. Now I want to distribute this, so negative 3 over 2 times x and negative 3 over 2 times 0. This shouldn't be too bad. This will be negative 3 over 2x, and then negative 3 over 2 times negative 0 is just 0. And then if I take my positive 5, and if I bring that over, it becomes negative 5. All right, so y equals to negative 3 over 2x minus 5. Now this is in slope-intercept form. Just go one extra step and write this in standard form now. So my only denominator here is a 2, so you can multiply everything by a 2. And for all these problems, I think multiplying the slope by 2 is always going to be a bit tricky. All right, so 2 times y is 2y equals 2. And then this 2 and that 2 will cancel off, and then you're just left with negative 3x. So negative 3x. And then ask yourself, what is negative 5 times 2? Well, that's just going to be negative 10. Okay, so that's looking pretty good so far. And after that, I would just take your negative 3x and bring that over. And if you do that, that should finish off the problem now. So now you get positive 3x, and then positive 2y equals to negative 10 is your final answer there. Okay, great. We're almost done this homework video guide. Just one more problem. I believe this is question number 11. And another similar problem where I need to find the equation of a line. And this line is now perpendicular to this weird line. And it has the same x-intercept as that equation right there. Okay, let's go ahead and find the slope again. So I know it's perpendicular to this line. So 3 over 2x equals to 1/2 y plus 1. All right, so it has to be perpendicular to that line. So let's go ahead and isolate for the y term here. So in order to do that, I would take my positive 1 and move it over. And if I move that over, I get 3 over 2x. And then it's going to be minus 1 equals to 1/2 y. All right, now in order to get rid of this 2 here, you're going to multiply everything by 2. So I'm going to multiply this side by 2, I'm going to multiply that by 2, and I'm going to multiply this by 2. And if you do that, the 2's just cancel off, and then you're left with just a single y on the right-hand side. This 2 and that 2 will cancel off, and now you're left with just 3x, so 3x. And then finally, you do have one nice calculation here. 2 times negative 1 is going to be negative 2. And if I just rearrange this line right here, that's the same thing as y equals to 3x minus 2. Okay, so it's going to be perpendicular to this equation right here. So if I want to find the perpendicular slope, I need the negative reciprocal of 3, which is going to be negative 1 over 3. All right, so there it is. I definitely need this slope for later on in the problem. And now let's get back to the beginning here. It has the same x-intercept as this equation right here. Now, if it has the same x-intercept, so you might just kind of recognize this kind of pattern from all the previous questions, and that just means the y variable just goes to 0. And now we have 2x equals to 9, and then we can divide both sides by 2. If I do that, the 2's cancel off, and x equals to 9 over 2. So for next intercept, it's really 9 over 2, comma 0. Okay, and there you go. I have my point and my slope. And let me just label this as x1 and y1. And let's go ahead and use the point slope equation of a line to kind of help finish off the rest of this problem. All right, so we need to fill in the m value, the x1 value, and the y1 value. All right, so let's do that. So I have y minus 0 equals to negative 1/3, and then x minus 9 over 2. Okay, so we're almost done the problem now. Now we need to distribute this into the brackets here, and this time we have a little bit of work to do. So this will be negative 1 over 3x plus, and then if I do 1 times 9, I get a 9, and 3 times 2 is going to be a 6, right? So 9 over 6, and then I have a y over here. So technically this is the slope-intercept form of the line, which is technically correct, and we should just take one extra step here to get this into standard form. So I have a 3 and a 6, so let's multiply by the least common multiple. So the least common multiple between 3 and 6 is going to be 6. Let's multiply that by 6, let's multiply this by 6, and I'm going to multiply this by 6 as well. Okay, so 6 times y is going to be 6y. All right, now the tricky part here is I have a 6 here in purple and a 3 there, right? So 6 divided by 3 is 2, and then 2 times negative 1 is going to be negative 2, so negative 2x. And then you can see that this 6 and that 6 cancels off, giving you a plus 9. And then last thing you can do is move the negative 2x over, so you get 2x, positive 2x plus 6y equals to 9 as a final answer there. All right, and that concludes this homework video guide from section 5.3.